anybody who has any TV show, they make a lot of money, not from having the TV show, but because they are on the TV show. See what I'm saying? You don't get paid a lot of money to have a TV show usually, unless you go years and years like Kim Kardashian, and then you become the huge giant actual celebrity. But there's a lot of people who have a TV show and then they make a lot of money because they have a TV show from selling coaching and consulting and other services that you bring out of your mind and manifest into the world. If you sell what you know or do for people, then it's advantageous for you to have a TV show or utilize other methods of what I call celebrity entrepreneurship.
Hey, money multipliers. I'm so excited because it's Halloween week. So happy Halloween, everybody. This is one of my favorite holidays. So have fun, stay safe, send me your pictures. Okay, I love to see all of the costumes. Actually, this past weekend, I spent my weekend at Halloween Horror Nights in Universal. So that was a lot of fun. Actually, between the 10 haunted houses, I got through 6 of them. And then also rode a few rides. So that was a lot of fun. But I just wanted to stop in before we get into this interview with one of my mentors, Clint Arthur, who has totally transformed my perspective when it comes to marketing, positioning yourself in front of your audience. Who is your audience that you're going after instead of just throwing sticky rice at the wall and hopefully it'll stick to it, right? So I want to introduce y'all to Clint and what I've been doing as my personal and also brand development over these last few months. And also, next week is a big week, all right? Next week, I have an episode coming out where Stephen Nagy and we did just a conversation, and I didn't get too deep into it. And it had me thinking, I think I need to use my platform and say some words that, you know, you may agree with me, you may not agree with me, but one thing I think we can all agree on is that it is very important to get out there and go vote. This is an election year. Next week, we have the election day coming up, and make some arrangements. If you haven't already, make some arrangements to go out there and get to the voting polls. Your voice matters, your opinions matter, and I think it's going to be a big, big time, and this is one of, I don't know, in my lifetime as being the age that I'm at, you know, I think it's one of the most influential elections that we'll have. So go out there, start making some change, speak up, you have a voice, your opinions do matter, and keep going out there serving the community. That's all you can do. Serve yourself, fill up your cup so then you have enough to go out there and fill it up for other people as well. So I just wanted to come in here. I had some thoughts because I didn't get too deep into it. We really talked about money and the economy when it comes to the election, specifically right here now in 2024. You'll hear that next week on the episode, but I want you guys to go out there and start making changes. So I'm proud of y'all. That's something I want to do in my lifetime is, you know, leave this place better than what I found it, right? Make my footprint memorable. So with that being said, I will introduce y'all now to Mr. Clint Arthur.
Hey, Money Multipliers. Welcome back to another episode of the Money Multiplier podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Kessler, and we ask ourselves, do our dollars make sense? So I am very, very eager because I have one of my coaches, one of my mentors that I wanted to invite here onto the podcast. And I have Mr. Clint Arthur here. So, hey, Clint, what's going on, man?
Yo, playa, what's happening there? What do they call you? The millionaire, the single millionaire chick? Is that you?
That's right. One of my close friends, Larry, he's trying to get that up off the ground. Start my own TV show as the single millionaire chick.
Yeah, well, that's one approach, you know. Look, anybody who has any TV show, they make a lot of money, not from having the TV show, but because they are on the TV show. See what I'm saying? You don't get paid a lot of money to have a TV show usually, unless you go years and years like Kim Kardashian, and then you become the huge giant actual celebrity. But there's a lot of people who have a TV show and then they make a lot of money because they have a TV show from selling coaching and consulting and other services that you bring out of your mind and manifest into the world. If you sell what you know or do for people, then it's advantageous for you to have a TV show or utilize other methods of what I call celebrity entrepreneurship.
Yep, yep. Books too. I mean, we talk a lot about books together. You, Mr. Clint, yeah, there you go, right there. There's your book. And
Celebrity entrepreneurship. Yeah.
yep, and that is I would say that that's your company, right? It's celebrity entrepreneurship. And I know we had our relationship that started actually not too long ago. We were both in the Bahamas together. I actually went down there with Pops and you were
Not
speaking.
together, not together at the same event.
At the
Yes.
same event, yes.
Yeah.
And we were both down there as a group of chiropractors. I didn't even show up to the room yet. And Dad goes, "Hey, I signed you up with this Clint Arthur guy. You're going to go to Acapulco, Mexico 3 times this year, and you're going to go do all of Clint's stuff." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Dad, you didn't even ask me what my agenda was this year." And at first, right, I think you and we both felt that vibe because you told me this. You're like, "Hannah, at first I didn't know I would like you very much." And I felt the same way. I was like, "I don't know if I like this Clint guy very much." And then we started to bond in Acapulco, and then we really meshed. I really enjoy our energies together. So that was a lot of fun.
Imagine that you had a good time in Acapulco and started to think that I might be a cool guy, you know?
Actually, it was Allie. It was your wife, Allie. I'm just
Oh
kidding.
yeah, I know. She's my secret weapon. We're a really dynamic duo, me and Allie,
Oh.
and it's been really a great way for us to have impact and influence and make a lot of income because it's just the two of us. And we work very closely with our clients, and we have a lot of people down to our giant villa in Acapulco in the billionaire section, the best neighborhood and resort of Mexico. And, we serve the food that we want to serve, which is it's like going to a health retreat. It's all gluten-free and sugar-free gastronomy because I have a background in gourmet food. I was the judge. Did you know I was the judge of Battle Butter on Iron Chef America? Did you know that?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, that was a really big initiative that I took. I used to love watching Iron Chef, the TV program, and I watched every episode with Allie for many years. And then I came up with this idea. I wonder if they have ever done butter as the secret ingredient on Iron Chef, and they had not. So I contacted the producers of Iron Chef America and I said, "Hey, I'm Clint Arthur. I'm the world's top expert on butter. I am the president of Five Star Butter Company. I'm also the president of the Jean-Louis Paladin Foundation, which is a 501c3 charity nonprofit dedicated to educating and inspiring great chefs as to the importance of great ingredients." That was our whole nonprofit. And I think you've overlooked the most important ingredient in all of cooking, which is butter. And I should be the judge of Battle Butter. And they're like, wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. And they flew me to New York and put me up in a swanky hotel. And my daughter got to come along when she was like 8, 9 years old and sit in the control room as the producers made fun of me as I drank more than a whole bottle of wine all by myself during Battle Butter.
And actually, I want you to talk a little bit about you from where you started to where you're at now, because I think that is a powerful story. You started off as a cab driver, the screenplay writer, living in LA. I mean, how did you go from all of that to where you're at now and shifting that mindset?
I chased the Hollywood dream for 13 years.
Mm.
And for 7 of those years, like after I finished maxing out all my credit cards and, destroying my whole life and getting kicked out of my house by my fiance after our baby was a year old, I started driving a cab for 6 of those 13 years. And, I wrote 30 screenplays and 10 books during that time. And on New Year's Eve of the millennium, wow, were you even born? How old are you?
I was born in 99.
99. Okay, well, on December 31st, 1999, I was behind the wheel of yellow cab number 6087. And in the backseat of my taxi were these two guys who were MBA interns at Goldman Sachs. I'm listening to them as they're talking about this muckety muck executive. Hey man, did you hear about Mr. Carrera? They made him the last partner right before the Goldman IPO and he cashed out a gazillion dollars. And I'm like, are you guys talking about Chris Carrera? How do you know Mr. Carrera? Chris Carrera was a pledge in my fraternity. When I was the pledge master in this fraternity, when I was attending the Wharton Business School, I used to make those little punks dance around the living room of the house with their tidy whities on top of their heads. And now this little punk just cashed out a gazillion dollars. And I go home to my boat at about 6 o'clock in the morning after I've driven the last drunk home to Hollywood in New Year's Eve. And I'm counting up my money. $513 driving a taxi on New Year's Eve of the millennium. I was supposed to be special. Where was Chris Carrera tonight? Partying at the Rainbow Room, and I'm making peanuts.
Mhm.
And that's when I swore an oath to myself that I was never going to write again and that I was going to quit chasing my dreams. I wanted to dig myself out of this rut that I had dug for my life. I had a resume with one line item, yellow cab company, not very productive for a 35-year-old man. So uh that's what I did. I got out of taxi driving and I got into selling butter.
Yeah.
And butter got me out of cab driving. God bless it. And it took me a long, long ways, for a long time. I was like the king of butter in Las Vegas. Every high-end venue in Vegas, every restaurant at Bellagio, so many places. The top five hotels in Chicago, the Waldorf Astoria in New York City, just all the best chefs. Gordon Ramsay was a client, Bobby Flay, Jean-Georges Vongrechten, Daniel Boulou, Guy Savoy. Many of them are names that no one's ever heard of because you don't spend enough money on gourmet food to know these names.
Yeah.
And it's a different level of gourmet, actually. It's called gastronomy. It's above gourmet. And that's the level of food that we now serve in my mega mansion next to the world's 13th richest man. Carlos Slim is my adjacent neighbor. I share a garden wall with him. And we have people down to learn, how do you become a celebrity expert? Because when I became a celebrity butter expert, that's what changed my whole life. Making that huge break for myself, becoming the judge of Battle Butter on Iron Chef America was a huge break for my butter career. Not the only one, but a huge one. And most people will never get an opportunity like that to be the judge of, their niche topic on a competitive show that's a big hit show on TV. Most people will never have that. But there are other ways to do it, and that's what you have kind
Just
of backed your
learning.
way into, thanks to your dad being a smart person, and a nice dad, and you finally being able to be convinced to show up by my wife and making this work for your schedule. And I'm glad it did because I really like you. You're a hardworking kid. I saw you at 8 o'clock in the morning talking about death benefits while you were in Acapulco on a Zoom. And I'm like, wow, what is that? I don't know a lot of kids your age who work as hard as you do and are as successful as you do. So, as you continue to apply this marketing methodology, and that's all this is. I'm not famous. I'm not a celebrity. I'm a celebrity entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur who uses celebrity marketing techniques,
Yeah.
including being on TV and others, to position myself as a celebrity in the eyes of my clients and prospects. And that's why I go places and I speak for 30 minutes and I walk away with $25,000 signed contracts, $30,000 signed contracts, 5,000, 10,000, in that range there, from people who've never seen me before. They know me, they like me, they trust me. They actually go beyond that. They admire me, they bond with me, and they trust me as much as they trust an attorney, enough to give me 30 grand just boom, on the spot the first time they meet me. And I don't know anybody else who can sell that type of item in a 30-minute presentation
I
on a first
agree.
eye to a cold audience. Nobody.
I know. Well, and then even my father, he didn't even hear you speak first. We got the magazine, and then you had your sign up form, and Brent goes, "Okay, here's my credit card information. Hannah's going to go do this."
Yeah.
So I know, I love that. And what I hear too from the whole back lifestyle from where you're at now is it's not so much that, okay, it's not enough that I'm trying to do my best. I'm going to do whatever it takes to do my best. And that's what I really hear. And I think that's why I do really vibe with you, because I like ambitious people. I like hard workers. Yeah, you got to have that balance in life. And that's why Mr. Clint Arthur doesn't start his mastermind events until noon, because Clint Arthur's got to sleep in. I love that. And here's one of the lines, because this is really what it is in the marketing, especially in the digital era that we're in right now. You got to be everywhere on social media. Personally, I just think that I think it's very, very important, because people only know who you are with what they see on Google or Facebook, television, social media. And this is one of the things that I wrote down when I was at your event. Who you are is more important than what you do or sell. What is who you are? And who you are is your marketing.
Yeah.
That hit the nail on the head for me.
Yeah, because that's what people see. They see your marketing. That's all they see. And what is marketing? Marketing is whatever shows up when they Google your name. That's
Mm-hmm.
basically marketing today. Because you mentioned, do you know this person, Clint? They kind of do something similar to you. So I Googled her and pulled up, and first of all, she didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's a big difference between her and me, is that you Google me and you're going to see 5 pages of my marketing occupying the first 5 pages of Google real estate with no interruptions by anyone else. The very first person to show up under a Clint Arthur search on Google besides me is some guy who died, and that's his obituary. So in order to compete with me, it's going to kill you, right? And that's what you want your competitors to feel like. It's possible that your competition could think, you know what, there's no way I could compete with Clint Arthur, and I'm not going to, so they're going to stay out of the marketplace. That's good. That's what you want your marketing to do. People like that include Grant Cardone. Nobody's competing with Grant Cardone doing what he's doing the way he's doing it.
Yeah.
And when you reach a certain point of celebrity entrepreneurship, your name becomes such a great personal brand
Mm-hmm.
that you become a unique item. You become a unique commodity,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're no longer a commodity. You're a unique commodity. And when you're the only vendor of a particular commodity, call it a widget, call it whatever you want, call it a diamond. When you're the only person, when you're De Beers, when you are Coca-Cola, when you are Oprah Winfrey, when you are Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins is really the best example of it all, because that's how I got started in going on TV. Is I realized I wanted to do this seminar. I was on a men's self-help team, and I did this experience for the team. When I was the team leader, I said, hey, we're going to all live our lives this year as if it's the last year of our life. And I just want you to go for it. Like, forget about, that there's that concept. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Right there. That's one way to go for it. All right. Well, how about this one? What would you do if this was going to be the last year of your life? That's what I want everyone to do. And it was so exciting and successful as an experience for all the men on the team that I wanted to promote that as my own seminar for the public. And I put it on, I went on a radio show, and I got a bunch of people, like 120 people, to sign up for my weekly conference call. This is way, way long ago, in like 2003, something. No, I'm sorry, 2009, way long ago. And then I wanted to do a live event, and I realized that I wanted to do an event in Las Vegas in a basketball arena and charge $400. And I wanted to do it around New Year's because that's a good time to start self-help programs like the last year of your life, right? And
Mhm.
I was searching for venues and stuff, and I saw that Tony Robbins was doing his own event in January in Los Angeles. And I was thinking, why would anybody come to my event and pay me $400 to go to my unknown seminar leaders event in Las Vegas when they could go to Walk on Fire with Tony Robbins for $600? Why would they come to me if I'm competing against him? And I didn't do that event, but what I did do was I realized Tony Robbins is my competition. And the thing that separates him and me is that he's Tony Robbins and I'm nobody. And so I started building my personal brand. The only thing I knew how to do in those days was to follow the advice of Jack Canfield. I met Jack Canfield at a seminar. I said, Jack, how do you sell 500 million chicken soup for the soul books? He goes, well, you got to be kind of famous. Nobody buys books from nobodies. They only buy books from somebody. So you got to be kind of famous. You got to go on TV and radio. There was no podcast in those days. And so that's why I started going on radio. And then I hired a publicist to book me on TV news and talk shows. And I spent $6,000 on my first 4 appearances. I
Wow.
showed the videos to my wife. I showed her the recordings on my laptop. And I said, what do you think? And she goes, I think you suck. And I said, yeah, I guess you're right, you know. So I'm gonna hire that publicist to book me on 10 more shows so I can get more practice. Because if I'm ever gonna get good enough to get on the Today Show, which was my big goal and dream, that I'm gonna need a lot more practice. And she goes, whoa, 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 why do you keep paying this lady? Why don't you just book yourself on TV? And I'm like, what? How do you book yourself on TV? It was like, but it was a challenge. And I woke up just in the middle of the night that night because I was still drinking in those days. And, you know, when you drink, a lot of times you'll wake up at 2:30, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I did. But I woke up and I went up to my home office and I started cold calling TV stations around the country. I went on Google and searched like ABC TV, Jacksonville, Florida, because I could fly there inexpensively on Southwest Airlines. And I started calling, and it took me 9.5 weeks of getting phones slammed down in my ear. Don't call us, we'll call you. Before I finally convinced my first TV producer to let me come on her show and talk about my book
Mm.
and living the last year of your life and what they teach you at the Wharton Business School and how to double your income and how to live the last year of your life and all the many, many, many books that I've written and created to get on TV so that I could work my way up to my 57th TV appearance, which was on the Today Show.
Yep.
And Brooke Shields and Willie Geist interviewed me on New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2013. And they said, you know, Clint, you ask yourself a great question every year. What's that question? And I said, ask yourself, if this is going to be the last year of your life, what would you want to accomplish? That's my superpower that has enabled me to accomplish so much so quickly. And uh and Brooke goes, wow, that sounds scary. And I said, when it's scary is when it's great. And that's a philosophy that I really believe in and hold true to my heart. I'll tell you what, when we were buying our first house in Acapulco, when I was physically writing out the 7-figure check, that was pretty scary. That
Yeah.
was most of our cash because we wanted to get rid of our cash and put it into some real property. And when I was writing that check, it was really scary, but it's turned out to be one of the best things we've ever done. I mean, if not the best thing we've ever done, living in Acapulco, having the lifestyle that we have, having our seminars down there, inviting our friends, many of whom start out as clients and become friends, to come hang out with us for a week or 2 or 3. We've had people come down for a month as clients to participate in multiple consecutive events. And we have some of that coming up actually November and December of this year. So I
Which
know
all
you're coming to some of. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No.
If you could stay for more of it, you're welcome to stay. You know, you're entitled to stay for a lot of it. And we'd love to have you. And you know, when I first heard of a seminar leader doing a 7-day seminar, he holds them in a hotel in the valley in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same. You know, you get a lot when you go to an intense experience and you're like living in the experience. That's great. But when you're living in my celebrity villa next to the 13th richest man in the world, and I only say that just to give you an idea of what it's like in terms of luxury and service, and the weather is perfect every day, and we have a gastronomic chef, and we have a butler and maid service and giant rooms, and it's awesome, and a beautiful pool and grounds and everything. When you come to that experience, it really is a celebrity transformation experience, and that's what we deliver down in Acapulco. And then one more thing about the Today Show, which was fascinating, is that I woke up the next morning after being on the Today Show and going out. I went out New Year's Eve that night. We partied till like 1:30 in the morning, drinking the last glass of champagne in the club lounge of the Sheraton on 7th Avenue and 52nd Street, where I was staying. And the next morning I woke up and I said to my wife, you know what? I think I'm done drinking.
Hmm.
And I haven't had a drink since January 1st, 2014. So that's more than 10 years. And I quit smoking pot in 2009. That's actually what enabled me to get on the biggest radio show and get those 120 first coaching clients for living the last year of your life, was because the insecurity, fears, and self-doubt that came, and paranoia that came with smoking pot, was gone when I quit smoking pot accidentally at a health retreat. And then so altogether, I've been totally clean and sober now for more than 10 years, and it really has accelerated a lot of stuff. I would say being clean and sober has given me like a whole extra work week amount of time every
Mhm.
week, because instead of drinking and getting high, I'm able to do work late at night, writing, marketing, whatever I'm doing, and investing in mentors.
Yeah.
I've invested in every single mentor. You name it, and I've studied with them if they're anybody.
Yeah.
And
Well, and
those
you
are
gotta give up
the,
that stuff. I mean, when you really want that powerful change to come in, I was the same way. I actually have an episode out there. It's called "The Person Behind the Pod," and I was a hellion growing up. You did not want to have me as your teenage daughter, and you once I stopped smoking pot, partying, going out there drinking booze every single night, right? You got to give up those bad habits to get you to that next level. You got to take some things away to then be able to bring some new habits, new life into you. And I even want to go back to what you said about when it starts to become scary, people stop. Clint, on your last webinar that you had, you were talking about how is this breakthrough ever going to happen for me? Am I really going to get there? And then you started to think about how people usually stop when things are about to happen and that shift is going to change. I want you to tell me just a little bit more about that mindset, because I thought it was very, very powerful.
well, the reason they wanted me on the Today Show was because I chased the Hollywood dream for 13 years and I quit. And yet I've been able to uh, I've become who I wanted to be,
Mhm.
but in a whole different way that I had to invent all by myself. I became, instead of a movie star and a filmmaker, I became a celebrity entrepreneur. I invented celebrity entrepreneurship. I have a trademark on celebrity entrepreneur, and I invented a whole genre of being somebody.
Mhm.
And but I want to go beyond that. I really want. I'm a writer. I'm a performer, and I really want to take my own persona and make it bigger. I want to be an actual celebrity.
Mhm.
I really do, because man, the opportunities that come along with actual celebrity are just ginormous.
Yeah.
And I hope and I believe that I'm ready for them now. I don't know that I was back then, which is probably why it didn't happen, because I was drinking and smoking all the time. And I guess
Because you
that's,
are what you think. Mr.
yeah.
Clint Arthur said that.
Yeah. And I want to be a celebrity, a real celebrity. So, now I've been doing it for 14 years. I've been pursuing celebrity for 14 years using my methodologies. And I've done a lot of really good writing and working. And I have my one-man show that I'm actually going to be performing on Broadway very soon.
Wow.
And I'm hoping that I will achieve the big breakthrough that I've been pursuing for my whole life and feel like I've really become somebody special. And, where does that come from? When I was growing up, I have this apartment in New York right now. It's a block away from the apartment where I grew up in New York City on the 18th floor. And when I graduated from the Wharton Business School, I came home um, to get the attaboys from my parents. And I thought it would be a love fest. But instead, they got into the biggest argument of all time. And they've been fighting my whole life. That's why I wanted to become somebody special. That's why I decided to go to the Wharton Business School when I was 14 years old, because I thought if I could become somebody special enough to graduate from the best business school in the world, that maybe it would solve all the problems. And I guess that's really why I still want to be somebody special, is because I feel like it'll solve all the problems. Like Grant Cardone, I think I heard Grant Cardone say, there is no problem that cannot be solved by an increase in sales.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I believe that to a great extent. Like your business doesn't have a problem that more sales can't fix. So being a celebrity entrepreneur is going to give you that income boost that you want, so that'll allow you to have the impact and the influence that you want, really. So anyway, I come home and they get into the hugest argument of all time, and my dad literally storms out of the apartment and slams the door behind him, and I'm sitting on the couch next to my mom like I've done a million times over the years growing up, and I turn to her and I go, Mom, the way he resents you all these years, have you been cheating on dad? And I'm thinking to myself, oh cow, I can't believe I just asked my mom a question like that. That's like the rudest thing I've ever said to anybody in the whole world.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, wow, where did that question even come from? I never even thought that question before in my entire life. And then I'm thinking, why ain't you answering the question? And
Mhm.
then she goes, he's not your real father. Your real father was a doctor at the fertility clinic we went to for 6 years trying to have you, and you look just like that guy.
Mm.
Say what? So uh, I no longer knew who I was. I don't know if you can imagine, like, I don't know if you can imagine how profound your self-identity is based on who you think your father is.
Mhm.
I later read that in Forbes magazine that 30% of all people don't know their real father.
Wow.
30% of all people. And if you think about, what it takes to make a baby, it can happen pretty quick. So it's possible that that statistic is pretty good. If it's in Forbes, it's pretty reliable. But not only didn't I know who I was anymore, I sure as heck didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up anymore from that point on. And as soon as that happened, I called up the investment bank on the 87th floor of number one World Trade Center, and I got the vice president on the phone. I said, Sir, I really appreciate the offer to come and work at the investment bank. And unfortunately, I've decided I don't want to be an investment banker anymore. And what did I do? Naturally, I just went out to Hollywood and started writing screenplays and going on auditions and trying to figure out who I was. What I've learned over many years of being a writer and doing all the writing that I've done, and my most recent book was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize, Wisdom of the Men. It's an amazing memoir of my experiences going from taxi driver to working with international superstars, including Dr. Oz and Oprah and Martha Stewart and Suzanne Summers and Caitlyn Jenner and Mike Tyson and Buzz Aldrin and Cesar Millan and Dog the Bounty Hunter. I've worked with them all, and five presidents of the United States: George Bush, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump. How did I do that? That's all in my memoir, Wisdom of the Men. And it's an amazing audible or read.
Mhm.
So I've learned a lot. And what I've really learned is that the central question of every great work of art is, who am I?
Mhm.
And that's what I didn't know anymore. That's what I went to find in Hollywood. Most people go to Hollywood to lose themselves. I went there to find myself, and I found myself becoming that very special person, the Wharton Business School taxi driver. And people say to me, Clint, do you regret all those wasted years chasing the dream that never materialized? And I
Oh.
say, no, because I learned the most important lesson in business, which is who you are is more important than what you actually do or sell, which is what you said. And, the way to think of it is let's just assume I was the greatest actor in the entire world. My competition was Nicolas Cage and Tom Cruise and any major star. And who would get the part? Them. Why? Because I was nobody.
Mhm.
And how do you become somebody? Well, that's what celebrity entrepreneurship is all about. I cannot make you a Tom Cruise, but I can make you somebody special in the eyes of clients and prospects using the methods that I use. And it could take you a long way. And it really, I mean, it's bought us multiple mansions in the best billionaire neighborhood in Acapulco. It's given us a lifestyle of leisure and luxury and fun, doing only what we want with whom we want. I turn down $25,000 clients regularly because I don't want to work with them for whatever reason. I don't work with just anybody, but
Yeah.
but I want to go further.
Yeah. And you say this too. I'm going to read you something else too. Because just the name of your business, right? Celebrity entrepreneur, celebrity entrepreneurship. Sell what they think they want and give them what they need. I said,
Yeah.
ooh, that hits me right in the heart. Because people probably come to you, oh, I want to be a TV star. I want to be a celebrity. I want to do all of this stuff. And they think they want all of that, but it's not, just as you said, it's so strategic in the marketing and how you position yourself from the other content creators, collaborators, or competition that you have out there. It's really positioning yourself to be that celebrity entrepreneur in your client's eyes. And so, yeah, your people may be coming to you, just like how I see in my business. People come to me because they think they want the power of privatized banking, getting out of the government's hair, or as Clint just thinks that I sell death benefits. We'll have to have a conversation about that later. But then we give them what they need because of the steps of how they implement their policy. Just like Nelson Nash says all the time, it's the process of your banking, not the product itself. Anybody can go and sell you a coaching program, a life insurance policy, but how am I going to change my mindset and my habits to get me to that place that I need to be going? And that one liner I just picked up from you. So another one.
Yeah, the mindset is really important. I mean, I remember talking to these salespeople in Las Vegas at a conference one time, and they asked me about my taxes, and I said, "Well, I have I have an S corp, and so it's um not as much of an issue to me the way it is to you as a 1040 salaried employee." And the guy actually goes, "That's immoral." There's a lot of people who cannot wrap their mind around the concept of freedom
Yeah.
and independence. They have to have daddy cutting them a check, paying their way. And you're right. Mindset is a key thing. And a lot of people come to me for the marketing. See, I sell you're going on TV. When you come to my celebrity launch pad, I guarantee at least 3 TV appearances are going to be offered to you by my friends who are producers at ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, TV news and talk shows. But it's more than just going on TV, because I get people who just come alive after that, who become great entrepreneurs, who they go from not being in action to being fully in action. It's a whole change in lifestyle and mindset, in that it's up to you. I say, people want the celebrity lifestyle. Okay. That's another product I sell, is instant celebrity transformation. That's what your dad bought you, an instant celebrity transformation.
Mhm.
And when you came to the seminar, something else I said was, okay, when you want the instant celebrity transformation, you want the celebrity lifestyle. You want to go to the great hotels. You want to go to the great resorts and vacations. You want to drive in the limousines and eat in the best restaurants. Well, who do you think's going to pay for that? You are.
Mhm.
You got to get that. You got to get the fact that investing money in you is worth it.
Yeah.
And investing money in the life that you want to live is worth it. And how do you get return on that investment? How do you get a return on the investment of a $300 dinner. Okay. And in my case, I'm buying $200 and $300 dinners for 50, 100, 200 people at a time. Here, look at this picture. This is crazy. This was after our event at the this was the Living Legends of Entrepreneurial Marketing at Carnegie Hall. Okay, this was some of the 200 people we took on the VIP cruise around Manhattan Island. Okay, that was not a cheap dinner. That was me buying a $200 dinner for 200 people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how do you get a return out of that? Well, I just did. And I say one of the things that you need, you didn't want this, but you need it and you need to know it. And that is you need to use everything you've got to get everything you want. This was me right now using everything I've got to get everything I want. And this was just some of the people. I got this great video. Man, I tell you, it was probably one of the most mature experiences. I've had a lot of really cool experiences, like the time when I said to General Russell Honore, the man who evacuated New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. He was one of my celebrity speakers at my Leadership Speakers Academy at West Point, and the other celebrity speaker was Buzz Aldrin. So I'm at this dinner and I got Buzz Aldrin right here and I got General Honore right here. And I go, Buzz, have you met General Honore? And he goes, no, I don't think I have. And I go, well, Buzz Aldrin, this is Lieutenant General Russell Honore. General Honore, this is Buzz Aldrin. That was that was super cool. But when Allie and I made this video, we got up in front of the 200 guests of ours at the VIP cruise around the island. And we had a microphone and I shot a selfie video of us thanking everyone for coming to the event. It was the culmination of this whole thing. It was deluxe, amazing dinner and cruise. And I have a video of that whole thing and that speech. See, what you want is the marketing. But what you need is to become a better speaker, more charismatic, able to get your ideas out of your mouth in a coherent way without stammering and stuttering and saying and ah, with
And
confidence.
storytelling.
Storytelling, yeah. I mean, which you've been seeing in this interview. And the confidence to be able to stand up in front of a room of 200 people, all of whom are high net worth CEOs and experts and consultants and advisors of every different kind, on a boat, in order to stand up in front of just strangers and start talking. One example of that is I remember I went to one of Dan Kennedy's information marketing summits in Colorado one time. And I was in those days, I used to do a lot of these, what I would call field reports. When I would go to a conference, I'd make a video and post it on Facebook and say, hey, this is Clint Arthur, and I'm at the Dan Kennedy Info Summit, and I'm making this field report about my biggest takeaways from the conference. And I did that, and I started talking about my upcoming event at Harvard, and these two people were sitting there watching me do this in front of a fireplace in the lobby of a hotel where the conference was. And I signed them both up as $10,000 clients for the Harvard event. So, what you want is the marketing. What you need is a lot of the personal transformation that comes along with the instant celebrity transformation.
Yeah.
But you don't want to buy that, but you really do need that.
Yeah, whether that you know it or not. No, I get it. Hey, and I'll tell you this. We're in the minor leagues. We're going to go up. We're going to get into the big leagues. And let me tell you, the first thing that came to my mind, I had that same feeling when I was a young girl. Dad would always talk to us around the kitchen table about money, how money works. How am I purchasing the snowmobile or the property in Idaho or the airplanes and different things? And Dad, I remember this. He goes, Hannah, money is not everything, but it's pretty close up there next to oxygen. I now, as I'm older, I learned that's a Zig Ziglar quote that dad picked up. And when I was younger, I was like, okay, you arrogant a-hole. All right, money is next to oxygen. I didn't get fully what he was meaning. I had that same experience when we were talking not too long ago, Clint, when you said, hey, these are the minor leagues right now. We're in the minor leagues and you got to come in and get this while you can because the breakthrough is coming and I'm going up there and this is the big leagues. I'm going to the big leagues. And at first I was just like, okay, Clint, but then it really started to get to me of what you are meaning in that interpretation of going that next mile. So Clint, I really appreciate you for everything that you are sharing with people and the knowledge and the experiences. And that's one thing that I would say is that kind of what puts me back from other folks that are out there, just even in my realm of business, is, oh, who wants to listen to Hannah Kessler? She's only 25 years old. What does she really know? But it's like, no, y'all, once people really get to know me, they understand, oh shit, she knows a lot. I better shut up and start to listen up. And so I think a lot of y'all will get that same value of really meeting Clint. And I encourage y'all to just reach out to Clint and go to some of his retreats, him and Allie. And this is how I didn't share this yet. I've been kind of keeping it a little secret over here. Just a few people in my organization know. But this is how next week, as Clint and I are recording this on this day, next week we're going to be in New York City together. We got the interview with Rudy Giuliani. We're going to be interviewing the U.S. General Surgeon.
Surgeon General of the United States, Dr. Jocelyn Elders. Yeah.
And then the NASDAQ stage, going to be up there doing some stuff on the NASDAQ stage, and then also having my fat head in the middle of Times Square on a big Jumbotron. So I'm very, very excited about that. And so all of this is possible just because of Clint and everybody that I met along those ways. Hey, talk for a second. Give me some sound so people can see that.
Well, that's that.
Wait, go
that
back.
Okay, this is my NASDAQ Jumbotron as it appeared a couple years ago. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
get imagery like this, but you'll also be in front of the Jumbotron saying, hey, I'm really excited to speak at NASDAQ. Check out my video at mynasdaqvideo.com or whatever you're going to put it on, wherever you're going to distribute it, whatever you're going to say. It's a really cool little video commercial, basically, but it's marketing. It's different ways to market yourself as somebody special, somebody different, somebody, because look, you do know a lot. And when people get to talk to you, they will want what you have, because what you have is special and powerful and effective and life transforming, destiny transforming, creating generational wealth. But they'll never get it until they find you. They'll never get it if they are not open to having a conversation with you. And what celebrity entrepreneurship does is it creates the marketing for you that separates you out from everybody else, raises you up higher in the eyes of clients and prospects than your competition or even than the customers and prospects are. You have to be higher status than them.
Yes.
And that is what will open up the possibility for a 45-year-old man to be taking financial advice from a 25-year-old girl.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm sure you've had clients like that, but it's just going to be more.
Oh, or like the people who will call me, oh, Hannah, this has been such a great conversation. Can I still talk with your father? And I've actually said this to some people. Oh, is it because my father has a penis and I don't? Oops.
Oh, wow.
I'll pull their chain a little bit. I'm a little sassy, all right? No.
Well, yeah, you won't look when I market this to roofing contractors. I say, look, when you have celebrity entrepreneur assets for your marketing, you won't need references anymore.
Yeah.
See, that's what this does. Again, we go back to the fact, how many people have you seen selling $30,000 contracts in 30 minutes to cold prospects?
Yeah, not a whole lot. And I go and speak at a lot of events. I know.
Not right then. I'm not talking about a follow-up call. I'm not right. I'm talking about in the room, handing me the contract. Here, let me show you. Let me show you something. We were just going through our files. We're in New York. This is just part of the stack of $5,000,
Mm-hmm.
$3,000, $10,000. See, this is just, the stack is 2 times more than this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a lot of thousands of dollars of contracts. And that's all that's in these stacks, just contracts.
Yeah.
So I don't know anybody else who can do that, really. One of my mentors, God bless her, she said to me, well, Clint, I couldn't possibly sell $1,000 ticket to an event in less than 75 minutes.
Yeah, you can. You just don't believe it yet.
Well, maybe she can't, but I can. And
Yeah.
I do. I sell $30,000 events, packages of events in 30 minutes. So yeah. And I teach people how to do it. I've taught several of my clients how to do the same exact thing. You know Amy Duffy? Have you met Amy Duffy?
Never met her, but know the name.
Yeah. She sold $96,000 in 30 minutes
Wow.
from the stage. And even Dave Nassani, and maybe you don't know him, but there's an elevator that I installed because Dave Nassani's wife is in a wheelchair for 30 years and she couldn't get up the stairs. So I installed an elevator for them to come to Acapulco. And it's the Dave and Charlene Nassani elevator. And he was the biggest piece of milk toast in the world when I first met him. I said, come on, Dave, you should come and speak at Harvard. He goes, well, got to go ask my wife first. He's the one earning all the money. She can't even speak. She can't even say any words. She can only go because of her stroke.
Yeah.
And he has to go ask her permission to invest in marketing, which is at that time going to speak at the Harvard Faculty Club with Suzanne Summers. And smart woman, she said yes.
Yeah.
And he transformed. He came to Celebrity Launchpad. He booked himself on 56 TV appearances, talking about being a caregiver, or he made a lot of money in the gas station business, and just cashed out big time with that. So he spoke from stage and sold like $50,000 from the stage in 30 minutes. So that's what's possible when you have this marketing and this transformational experience of being a celebrity entrepreneur in the eyes of clients and prospects, and probably most importantly, in your own eyes. To thine eyes be true.
No, hey, how can people find you?
Go to clintwith3ts.com. See it on the screen, clintwith3ts.com. Why 3Ts? Well, I work with all kinds of experts, every different kind, from balloon decorators to hair extension experts to the inventor of nameology, the science of what does your name mean. And she told me, Clint, I wish you had an extra T on the end of your name because the T's always end up on top, like Orange Man Bad. So I couldn't get clintwith2ts.com, but I did get clintwith3ts.com, and it worked out great. It's a nice, easy way for people to remember to check me out on the internet at clintwith3ts.com. Or if you like my name, Clint Arthur, Clint like Clint Eastwood, Arthur like the king, you can Google that or search for that on Amazon and find my many books.
I see what you did there. I do Hannah spelled the same way forwards and backwards, Kessler with one S. But we need to vamp that up just a little bit, don't we?
Yeah, well, I celebritized it.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, and the last thing I'll say is I need to do a whole podcast episode on this. You said this at your live event, but my father has also taught me this as well. Sometimes you need to fire your friends and your family members because they are the biggest ones holding you back. I will do a whole episode on that coming up here soon, y'all. But I want to leave the conversation with this. Treat yourself as your number one asset. Sometimes you got to put yourself first to get yourself to that next goal of where you're trying to go. So Clint, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here today. I know you're a busy, busy man, so I do really appreciate the time. So thank you again.
Hey, it was a lot of fun. I love you, and I look forward to seeing you soon in New York and in Acapulco.
Absolutely. All right. Bye, Money Multipliers. We'll catch you soon. See you next week.